What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to Clover Trading, and if you don't know, my name is Kyle Williams, and in this video I'm gonna kind of introduce you into a small clip that I actually did from my March 2023 Phoenix, Arizona boot camp that we put on. And the reason why I'm showing this is because this is just a small glimpse of what you get from some of the speeches from myself, Jack Kellogg, Huddy, Dom, Jack Schwarz, right? This is kind of a little, just an inside look at what we kind of teach and what we kind of do in-person boot camps. And more importantly, if you're interested, we have another one coming up in Boston in August, and it's only 5 or 6 weeks away. But again, this is just a little intro. Hope you enjoy it. Comment down below what you like most about it, but I go over one of my better trades of my career and I go into detail. So just take a look and hope you enjoy. Thanks. So LCDX, let's go over this example. And again, there's gonna be things about this trade that aren't in that checklist because every stock is different. Every situation is different. Every nuance can show up, okay? So LCDX. First day of the run, again, we have a small previous history, it's run and failed. Okay, so nothing really that important. If you look at this chart, I would think, okay, the next day is probably gonna be big because it had it here. Just a very rough, bland thesis, nothing too convicted of me to want to follow. But volume's good, okay? It's better than the last one, technically kind of a breakout. And now you notice it's Lucid Ink. This is not Lucid Motors, okay? This is not the car that you see that's as expensive as Tesla driving around an electric vehicle, okay? This is a completely different company. Lucid Motors, Lucid Ink. That plays a huge role in this trade, okay? I believe there was promotion activity going around. This kind of ends up being a scam to kind of burst your bubble. But that people behind the scam used their name to pump it up. It's very easy to send out emails, send out promotions, send out advertisement. Maybe it's on Twitter. Again, maybe it's just email on Twitter. Or if you just type in like hot penny stocks, you'll find a billion websites. You can just type your email and they'll send you some of the crappiest stickers, but some catch fire. This is around the time when Lucid Motors was looking to come public. They were talking about going public. They weren't public yet, but it builds up that hype. So what do? They run with it. They say, oh, we're Lucid. We're that company name. We're Lucid. Okay. And so again, that first trade did actually work. But again, you just wait and let that information pay for you. Dom says it all the time. I'm waiting for them to kind of have their information be paid for, and I can figure out what I like to see and what I'm going to eventually be seeing. All of a sudden, we see 3 huge green days. This is what I love to see. Again, like I said, for a first red day, not just one day, right? Because again, this was up from 50 cents to 125, over 100%. I like typically at the low end, a stock to be up over 100% to be able to short it. Now we're up, what is this? 500%? 700%? I don't know the math. I'm not going to do it right now, but it's like, and again, over 3 full days, 1, 2, 3, let alone the little choppy days beforehand. Now this is an incredibly good setup for me. Volume isn't that great, it's an OTC, but it's good enough. It's slightly increasing with the stock price, okay? This is now the intraday of the top day. Now let's go back real quick. So the previous close was 350. And again, you notice how each day the range is getting bigger. So this range day is like what, 30 or 40 cents. Here we're like 50 or 60 cents. Here we're like a full $1.50. Now the intraday, we closed at 350, we gapped to 380, we hit 6. Okay, this entire run from 175 to 475, practically that range alone pretty much increases this day alone. We almost double, right? That's what a parabolic is. Just every day gets more extreme, more rapid, more volatile. Now I cut this off because we're gonna go play by play here at 11:30 Eastern. What happens? Where does this luck come in? Because I'm not short yet. I'm watching this ticker. I have no intentions of shorting it right now. I want to short it maybe the next day for the first red day. That's my idea. I'm hoping it closes at 5 to be able to short it and have it drop to like 3. Again, the higher the better. Now we're up 1,000%. We're up from 50 cents to 5. What changes? What happens to me and the rest of this play? So piece number luck number 1, the caveat emptor. So what this is, if you go to otcmarkets.com and you type in any ticker, any OTC ticker for that matter, on the right-hand side, they're going to give you grades about the company. There's a few like positive grades, like they're filing compliance, they meet the OTC requirements, yada, yada, yada. Some of the things is like if they're a shell company, if the company literally has no business, it'll say shell or shell risk. If it's a promotion, they'll have a little like red like horn sign, like watch out, this is a promotion. Caveat emptor here stands for buyer beware. It is literally the worst thing an OTC market or an OTC stock can get prior to being halted. Okay, how do I know that? Preparation. I've seen tickers get this mark and watch them drop 80, 90% in a single day. If you have your software app, look up OOIL in 2019, look up VCEX in 2019, look up VENG just a month ago. They got this skull and crossbones and the stock dropped like a rock, okay? Now normally, the OTC markets will give an OTC this symbol in after hours. This is where the luck comes in. It's super unique. They gave it literally like a couple minutes before I shorted. The reason why I know they gave the caveat emptor is that you can subscribe to like tweets. You can get alerted by tweets or Twitter accounts. I was alerted to OTC Markets Twitter to see when they tweet, just because you never know when they're going to tweet out. It's very random. There's no warning that this skull and crossbones is going to come out. They just give it to whatever ticker they please that they see as a risk to buyers. Buyer beware. Me and Kellogg got a notification. Okay, we go to Cobra. They have 20,000 shares available at like all. We split it 10K each. We each shorted 10K literally right here because we've shorted OIL, we've shorted VCX, we've seen tickers drop so freaking hard from this symbol. Now again, do all stocks drop that hard? No, there's like, I think like one. Okay, so there's always a risk they don't, but I've seen it so many times. I've been so prepared. I am like now 95% certain what's gonna happen to this stock. So we get short. Piece number 2, a PR comes out 15 minutes later. So Nor Caliber Imaging, that's what they've changed their company to now. But at the time it was that Lucid Ink has no relation to Lucid Motors. The company actually has to PR and let people know that we are not the same company that you got from the emails from the promotions or whoever kind of pumped it up. We have no relation to this car company. And it starts dropping, okay? It came out, I think the PR came out like right here. So it drops more. And so we're only down, what, from 540 to 440? How low do I actually think it's gonna go? Again, I've seen tickers have the CE or the caveat emptor. This PR was just like a icing on the cake. Really, the CE is all we needed in my opinion, but this just made it that much better. If I had more shares than 10K at Cobra, I would have taken more, believe me. And this is what ends up happening. Just absolute obliteration, right? Goes red, before you know it's at $1. This green arrow here is where I covered. Why on earth would I show a green arrow instead of an actual green exit from Cobra? Because when you get the CE, it is very common for brokers to literally stop you from trading it. It is that bad of a symbol. Not all of them, like Vang, I was still able to trade on VENG, but this was so bad, not just Cobra, I'm not singling out, like almost every broker was like, you can't trade this anymore. That's how bad it is. You pretty much cut off demand completely from the stock and left with only stuff. I had to call them and they had to manually place my cover order for me to their clearing firm. I covered at 180, it ended up being at 80 cents the next day. I covered $1 early, but from 10K from 30 down to 180, made 35 grand. Ignore the times. Kinfo thinks it was a long trade, but obviously I can't sell at 530 first and then cover at 180 later. But yeah, 35K at the time was my best profit of my career. This is the daily chart. Just destruction, just absolutely obliteration. And that's what the CE does. That's what the skull and crossbones does. Again, if you look at those ticker I mentioned, they almost all look like this. Not necessarily in this fashion, in this one day, but over time, in at least a 2-day span, they get absolutely obliterated. Preparation meets an opportunity.